So, the companion, community, and program to my new book, The Reclaimed Woman, is called Reclaimed. It is a step-by-step 6-week approach to love your shadow, embody your feminine gifts, and to experience the specific pleasure of who you are. If you have followed all the good independent girl rules and you still feel overwhelmed, resentful, and disappointed, you may think that you need to practice or learn or study how to be more soft, slow, abundant, and pleasure-led as a feminine woman. Or you might think that you have to be brave and courageous and finally stand up for what's yours. But the truth is that chasing femininity and fighting for power will just leave you more wired, judgmental, and disconnected. There's a plot twist, a big reveal, and a hidden path that does not require rose petals and goddess circles or declaring yourself a queen or learning the tricks of a high value woman. You need a huge permission field that can be conferred by other like-minded and hearted women, and perhaps my fairy dust to help you remember who you are. I want you to imagine what it would be like to feel a rush of pride as you decline an invitation without a trace of fear or defensiveness, or to sip your tea as you watch your husband fix the door hinge, feeling like the prize who won the prize, remembering when you used to think that you needed to show him how to do everything right. Or to feel the breeze move over your body and a wave of pleasure roll through you, opening your eyes wider to the dancing leaves and the light fragrance in the air. Or to wait in the car line for your kiddo, hear your phone ding with a notification and smile that you're making 3K while mommying. Or maybe to feel the charge of a trigger move from your chest down to your stomach, letting it swirl until a smile creeps onto your face because you know now exactly what you need to create from this energy. Or maybe to never be afraid of symptoms or illness again because you know that your body does not make mistakes. Let me show you how to claim the confidence, creativity, and pleasure that are already there, awaiting the safe conditions to emerge in 6 weeks. This is the only live opportunity where I will personally be offering weekly coaching calls. I will see you in there. We start July 8th. I'm Dr. Kelly Brogan. You may know me as a New York Times bestselling author of a book with an exploding pill on the cover, renegade psychiatrist, pole dancer, or honorary member of the Disinformation Dozen. What can I say? I'm a born provocateur. I've spent most of my recent life exposing deceptions, connecting dots, and discovering the secret places my inner victim is still waiting to be liberated. And now I feel called to help you reclaim all of your parts, your health, your sexuality, your power, and your expression, so that you can finally truly own yourself. I want to ignite in you that inner knowing and the pulsing vitality that lives beneath your disempowerment, disconnection, and resentment, so that you can audaciously, courageously, and playfully alchemize your struggle into the specific pleasure of who you are. This is Reclamation Radio. Hi, and welcome back to Reclamation Radio. I am Dr. Kelly Brogan, and today I want to talk about the poor bargain. So in my new book, The Reclaimed Woman, I deconstruct the story of the Handless Maiden, which is, I think, the greatest heroine's journey ever told. So in this story, there is a father, and he unwittingly sells his daughter to the devil for the promise of wealth and an easeful life. And of course, it's a metaphor, right, for what the unattuned, under-resourced, floundering inner masculine does within each of us. He betrays our own spirit. He sells our souls for seeming convenience and security and power. And the natural consequences of this invite us onto a path and into a journey home to our authentic selves. So Clarissa Pinkola Estes has a profound interpretation of this story that I reference throughout. And she says that a poor bargain is when a woman surrenders her instincts that tell her the right time to say yes and when to say no. When she gives up her insight, intuition, and other wildish traits, then she finds herself in situations that promised gold, but ultimately give grief. She says it was basically designed this way, which of course is my belief as somebody who does not subscribe to victim consciousness as an empowering worldview. And she says, the poor bargain, like birth and death, constitutes a rather utilitarian step off the cliff planned by the self in order to bring a woman deep into her wildness. A woman's initiation begins with the poor bargain she made long ago while still slumbering. That female psychic slumber is a state approximating somnambulism. During it, we walk, we talk, yet we are asleep. We love, we work, but our choices tell the truth about our condition. The voluptuous, the inquiring, the good and incendiary sides of our natures are not fully sentient. So, how does this translate for women today? I would venture that at some point or another, you too have made a poor bargain. You make a poor bargain when you play it safe and you subsist on the crumbs of life. When you take the bait of a too good to be true situation, when you fail to trust that you have always had and always will have what it is that you need to walk your specific path in life. The decision-making apparatus that is your personality strikes survival-based bargains that seem to yield good returns in childhood, but those same bargains cost you dearly later in life. And your inner parts stop talking to each other. And often one inner protector takes the wheel and decides that social acceptance, quick fixes, and tolerating or ignoring red flags is worth it. And the others are protesting and clamoring in the background. So here's what I see. Women are bitter, resentful, overwhelmed, numb, and disappointed. We have a war waging inside of us between our inner masculine energy that is the slave driver, the drill sergeant that insists that we must be perceived as good and productive, successful and independent, and the feminine part that wants to exhale and play and create and enjoy life. It's a mirror for the war that is going on the outside between men and women. Feminism, I will argue, and has sold us this poor bargain, and we took the bait. We ate the poison apple. We were told that if we serve an employer, we'd be free. But if we serve our husband, we are slaves. We were told that if we suppress our female biology with birth control, medicalized birth, and antidepressants, we'd be empowered. We were told that if we use our heads instead of our hearts, we'd be respected. And we were told that men are the enemy. We thought that we wanted freedom, but I'm here to say that what we have always wanted is safety. Safety is ending the war on the inside and also on the outside because it's holofractal. It is taking the other as yourself. It is resolving judgment. It's owning when your body says no and honoring when your body says yes, and resolving self-betrayal and patterns of victimization so that you can experience what I call the specific pleasure of who you are. Because it turns out that chasing femininity, which I see so many women doing, right? So rose petals and goddess circles and forced self-care that just ends up being another thing on your to-do list, and fighting for power, which has been my proclivity over the years. These efforts do not work. So I write in my book, a woman's biology is designed to create and nurture life. And so she is the blooming bud, the flickering flame, the drop of water that yearns for sacred attention, protection, and containment. She is, by her very nature, vulnerable. by allowing ourselves to be colonized by the hegemony of masculine values. We have abdicated intimacy with what is valuable to us as women, gaslighting ourselves into thinking that achievement, success, and productivity are the keys to fulfillment. All right. The feminist movement promised that we would get ours, that we would know freedom and power, and that we would no longer suffer what it is to be a woman. We were promised freedom from our roles in the household, our reproductive imperative, and even from the constraints of a female body, courtesy of sexual reassignment. Sexuality was rendered a recreational activity to be infused with whatever meaning you assign it, no different from any other social interaction. And as we deny the biological reality of a woman's roles and vulnerabilities, we also deny the reality that women happen to live in a world with men. And we strike a poor bargain when our sexual freedom is contingent upon our sexual appeal, which is a very limited game for women to play over the course of our lifetimes. A game that denies the root power of a woman's energetic and erotic gifts, whether she's making love, giving a lecture, or stirring a pot of soup. So if the feminist movement served to, I would argue, of course, by design, extract us from our primary role as caretakers, to render us additional taxpayers, and to capture our children in industrialized training camps called schools, so that we could mimic the men that we are fundamentally afraid of, there are some important questions we have to ask ourselves, right? So, a few quick questions. Are we really looking to gain status and power in the marketplace so that we can imitate men? Like, isn't that the same as dressing up as a monster on Halloween? And is safety actually found in a 40+ hour work week where we are separated from our children, neglecting our bodies, in competition with our sisters, in tension and conflict with our partners, so that we can participate in endless consumerism that promises to help us to feel better about what should feel bad in this lifestyle? Or does safety stem from restoring connections with our female biology, with nature, with each other, and prioritizing our own erotic energy from the invitation for men to step into their purpose, providership, and protectorship? If the latter is true, then perhaps it's not power over men that we ever wanted. It's the restoration of the truly empowered man so that we can finally exhale and get back to what we do best, which is feel, create, intuit, and channel. So how do we access our deepest truth? I want to share something that has really supported me in this long and twisted, wild journey that I come back to time and time again to tap into my inner wisdom, alignment, and knowing. The Divine Truth Elixir from Lotus Way helps you to illuminate your greatest purpose through the art of self-healing. So you use it to unveil your sacred offering and to clarify your expression. You attract community and you magnify your powerful presence. So this flower essence dissolves the difficulty in telling and speaking your truth. This sense of lack of purpose, withdrawal patterns, inauthenticity, veiled intention, secrecy, and wanting to run or abandon ship when things get hard. So imagine tapping into your deepest truth with ease. What a gift. Head to lotusway.com and use the code Kelly15 for 15% off. The link is in show notes for you. The freedom to be more like men in the world is like taking a Tylenol for a piece of glass stuck in your foot. The root cause of the seeming problem is neglected by this solution. The solution, in turn, destroys the infrastructure of family, marriage, and motherhood that actually sustain and serve a woman's personal fulfillment, even if she ultimately chooses to work and play in the entrepreneurial realm in a way that can be woven in and through these natural priorities. So when a woman's natural gifts and talents are commodified, she becomes someone who offers nurturance, creativity, and care to strangers for hire, rather than to her own husband, children, and family. And the idea that you can follow your mission and your purpose, you can prioritize your work, and that it won't cost you anything because you can still be a mom, it's not true, in my opinion. And work-life balance as a woman is a myth. And when our priorities are misaligned with our core native essence as women, we start to build resentment and bitterness. I know in my life, when I imagine that doing dishes and cooking and driving my kids around is something that interferes with my productivity as an entrepreneur, and there are like more important things that I could be doing with that time, I start to think of my life as units of productivity. That disconnection results from my own confusion about what matters to me, and understanding that cooking for my kids, that cleaning up after them, that driving them around, and all of the mundane aspects of being a mother are actually expressions of my desire to serve them. Why? Not because I believe in like child-led parenting, because that is where my fulfillment lies. That is how I learn to love. And that is also an opportunity for me to take responsibility for my choices, right? So like when I occasionally complain about, cooking, cleaning, driving, and more, my daughter will say, "You're the mom." Right? And I'll often come back with some sort of defensive, like, "Yeah, but I'm doing this all by myself," or "Yeah, but you can help me." And I am reminded, because I have raised sovereign daughters, I am reminded that I chose to leave the marriage to their father. I chose to also be a career woman. I chose to not get remarried. I chose all of the conditions that allow me to be in the position right now of getting in the car to pick up my kids with some sort of disgruntled, bitter resentment, or hiring somebody else to do it, which I have done. Or I have this choice to get in the car to pick up my kids and to see it as an opportunity to be with these humans that I created and that I adore and who bring me joy, right? So that reframe is only available when I understand that my fulfillment comes from the proper prioritization of my roles as a woman. And I like to tell tales from the trenches. As a pedigreed medical doctor, as a New York Times bestseller, as a 7-figure earner, and as a single mom, the fulfillment that I experience, the pride that I experience in my life has never been from these accolades. I tell the story in the book of when I found out that my first book hit the New York Times list inexplicably, honestly. And like the clitoral sneeze of excitement, like that was like a momentary, fleeting experience that had no roots to land in. When I have, achieved any 4.0, any honor, any reward, any expression or reflection of my success, it has felt like almost nothing. And I am not alone. This is a very, very common experience from women who have achieved all of the promises of feminist lore. You want to know when I feel pride? I feel pride when I can hold shame and access humility, when I am willing to be wrong and I see the gifts that come from the connection in front of me, when I am taking responsibility and owning my part. I feel pride when I can change my story and survive that and find the delight on the other side of what I imagined I would die without. I feel pride when I create things with my hands, when I am mediocre at things that bring me joy, like singing and sewing and dancing, and when I create the conditions to play with my daughters. So I write in The Reclaimed Woman, empowerment requires that you defy the reflex that it will cost too much to take the leap away from your old defensive patterns, stare in the wanting face of what you've been avoiding, and choose uncertainty. It requires that you grow the capacity to feel the shame that gatekeeps this heroic leap. This shift defies the illusion that walking in the well-worn grooves of your poor me, no fair, I hate this story is good enough for your experience as a woman. Your sovereignty asks for an initiation beyond your worst and deepest fears so you can finally reclaim your human superpower, choice. Maturing yourself beyond your defensive, trauma, and victim consciousness-based programming is the heroine's journey home to your authentic reclamation of your wildness. And the pain of living that disconnected life is what will call you home. So here's how you know if you've taken the poor bargain. You feel bitter and resentful and maybe even angry at what it has taken and what it takes for you to have and be and do all that you do as a woman. And you might look at other women on social media or in your life who are dancing, who are generating wealth effortlessly, who are mothering, who are gardening, who are cooking, who are working with their hands to create. And you might be left with a resting bitch face. But know that your judgment, your jealousy, and your sense of potential superiority or indignation or righteousness are the invitation home to get in your lane as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, and to reclaim the parts of you that are locked behind this shame wall that has been erected and socially engineered to disconnect you from yourself. So I would be delighted to help you wake up from the gaslight that says that you should feel happy and fulfilled because you have all of this freedom and empowerment thanks to feminist liberation. And I detail these step-by-step ways to reclaim yourself in The Reclaimed Woman and the companion program, Reclaimed. Because we are not meant to do this work alone. In fact, the first taste of true safety comes from and through the permission field granted and conferred by other like-minded and hearted women. So let's do this together. It's time.